Speakers of Heidelin is made possible by our generous patrons. Special thanks to our Supreme and Master Speakers, Omega Cat Comet, Erizu Yamakawa, Alex Franco AV, Winebow Brood, Aurora White, Psyche, Asuta Starbreeze, Cletus Oreo, Lily Black, Bob CZ, Mictor Rabentau, Anathos Mooniscar, Pamela Isley, Elenriel Maximus, Coderth Novelist, Mira, Celestau Notrell, Lazy Boy, Luke Osborne, Pandaloo Storm Arrow, Tex, Kylin, Arthur Law, Viridan Derard, Psypup, Spencer Christmas, Celine DeLune, Edwin, Wubsta Wolf, Severa, Circa Barrakiel, Kazran, Ventos Tia, Ryark Forbear, Leighton the House, Tony, Arcadia Lunashine, Framboise Zaccaro, Bergie Fudge, Sethiel Cafe, Gregorium Cardas, Eros, Uana Nitsa, and Mira Moontail. Get early access to audio and video versions of the show, including the post-show, by supporting us at patreon.com/SpeakersXIV. Thank you. Good evening, Aorsians. Welcome to Speakers of Heidelin, episode 451. I'm Lakil Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Georgi Wiston, Mela Vanadar, and Rolodes.
Hello.
Hello.
It's April 3rd. No, sorry, it's May 3rd. Not April.
No, it's not.
Our show note says April 3rd. Now it says May. It's May 3rd, 2025. And today,
That's not the only issue with the show notes.
There's plenty of issues.
We don't have to talk about the issues of the show notes right now, but yes, it's episode 451. It's May 3rd. We are today. We're going to talk about we're going to talk a little bit about cosmic exploration today, namely some issues.
All the maintenance.
Yeah. And in the great discussion today, we're asking the question: what about Tuliyollal? What?
Or
What's the deal?
What's the deal?
As it's spelt here, Tuliyollal.
Yeah, I wrote this while the intro was running.
Panicking. Yeah.
I was
Oh
panicking.
no, that's why I wanted to bring attention to it, because I saw you.
I'm glad you
writing
brought
it as
attention
we were going
to it.
live.
I'm glad you brought attention to it, Gary. Thank you. We'll also be reading MogMail, speakersofv.com/MogMail, and stay tuned for the post show. We'll not be answering questions from the syndicate because there are none. So we'll be reading near far wherever you are, so don't miss out.
This is the last one now, right?
The last chapter.
It's the last chapter of near far wherever you are. It ends today. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Sorry. I'm doing this here. This is not recent events. Just a channel update. Eurovision is coming up, starting for patrons on the 6th with our Eurovision countdown for Master and Supreme speakers. And you for patrons, check the channel. It's called Eurovision 2025. It has the dates and everything that you need to know. So again, I'll just explain. Eurovision Countdown is like a pre-show the week before Eurovision. That's on Tuesday. And then the next week, what is it? The 13th and 15th is semifinal 1 and 2. We will cover that live for Supreme and Master speakers. And then on the 17th of May, which is the Norwegian Constitution Day, we will be covering the grand final, and that will be open for seniors as well. So there you go.
It goes on for about 12 hours, so...
Yeah, the grand final is a very long show, so be sure. Actually, the semis as well. They go on for quite a while. So
they go on for longer than you might think they would.
Semis are about between 2 and 2.5 hours.
Yeah, the grand final can stretch into 4 hours. You know, it's a long.
Oh, it's normally longer than 4.
Yes,
I'm being
into the
generous. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's that. Let's jump into recent events. Right. Well, cosmic exploration, eh?
How about them red alerts? Yeah.
Yeah.
You winning, son?
I was doing a red alert while we were watching Adresse Basel.
Which
God.
means nothing to anyone but us. But yes,
It's a Eurovision pre-show.
yeah. This is the content that is very popular right now. I don't really.
It's the real deal.
I still haven't finished my relic. Like I am taking this way
I've not
slow.
played Final Fantasy much this week due to
There's a lot of other
mostly
games.
the insane temperatures and also
Oh,
there's lots of
no,
games
that's
going on.
fair.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
Oblivion
Well,
Clair obscur.
Yeah.
So
I like that the insane temperatures affect you with 14, but not the other two games you mentioned.
Yeah. I would.
14 is less optimized since Dawn Trail.
Oblivion surely must heat your room up like crazy.
Oblivion, it feels like I'm in the realm of Meiru's Dagon and stuff. But I love it. I love Oblivion.
Yeah. But okay, so there's a lot that's happened, so we're going to take you through this journey. Now, we talked about an issue last week. I think this is a follow-up to that. This is because 14 was updated on the 28th of April. This is part of Final Fantasy 14 hot fixes. We have implemented a temporary countermeasure for the issue where mech ops in Cosmic Exploration, where an error preventing boarding would occur if board is selected while performing another action at the same time.
That's believable.
Yeah. As it will take time to implement a permanent fix, we have made changes to the system so that an application is compensated and the internal changes of being selected in the next application... the chances of being selected in the next application is set to max to those who encounter this issue. Players that encountered this issue before the temporary countermeasure will be compensated with 1,000 lunar credits once we have investigated for eligibility. We kindly ask for your patience while this investigation is underway. You're getting compensation.
Yeah, I know. I understand that it's a relatively small issue, but I also just like that the compensation is relatively small as well.
Yeah,
to match.
yeah.
What if there are 7, 8 people who, the 6 people who were selected to be the mech all had this issue?
Yeah,
well,
I suppose they'd all be
very...
the max on the next one, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you can't over. I was just thinking if there's a way of getting more people at the maximum chance, but I don't think that's possible. Actually, is it?
The only way. Well, no, you could if you. Well, actually, I don't know if this would be maintained if you switched instances, but that would be a possibility if it does maintain through that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering how the spaghetti would handle it.
Well, the spaghetti is handling it pretty poorly currently with Cosmic Exploration, going by all the errors we've had. The following bugs have been fixed. During Cosmic Exploration, the server could go down under certain conditions when the mech-op directive Destroy Corrupted Crystals was started.
That's
the whole server.
Issue.
That's kind of crazy.
Is that the full server or the instance server for Sinus Arboreal?
I don't know. It doesn't specify.
Because one's a lot worse than the other.
Yeah. During Cosmic Exploration, the mech ops objectives would sometimes remain when completing the mech ops directive Destroy Corrupted Crystals.
That is infuriating. Well, I didn't have it affect me during Destroy Corrupted Crystals. I had it with the Destroy Spongi things.
Really? They've not. They're very specific here about Destroy Corrupted Crystals only.
Yeah, I know. When one time when I did it during the first week, I would try and run over the sponges. And then, some of them were real and some of them were illusory remnants from previous Spongoids.
Oh.
And it was infuriating. And at that point, before I've done it again, I was like, this one's much more shit than Destroying Crystals.
Yeah, okay. During Cosmic Exploration, the mech ops directive could no longer be issued under certain conditions. So, just couldn't.
Yep.
That's the one that Rollo...
Yes.
Was that the one? Because you were on an instance where nothing popped ever. Right?
Yeah. The next day it was fine, but the entire evening of the first day, it was just like
it has.
nothing happened.
It gets fixed when there's a red alert.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah,
they're pretty rare. So
but now it's overall fixed.
It's
apparently.
fixed now completely. Awesome. Yeah. During Cosmic Exploration, the time between the issuance of a mech op directive and the start of the operation would be shortened under certain conditions. That's strange.
Ew.
So the timer would just start
so
at
short.
Yeah, it is. I feel like the time between when you're confirmed to board and when the fate actually starts is so short if you don't immediately board because of the cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you say board in the last 30 seconds or whatever, you've missed half the fate at that point.
Yeah.
Because of how quick they happen. I agree. It's really weird.
During cosmic exploration, the synthesis, quick synthesis, and trial synthesis could be performed while a crafter's stellar mission was in progress. That one we also remember we read that last week. That was a known bug.
I never thought it to be an issue.
No.
It feels irrelevant. I mean, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to do either, but if it wasn't meant to be, then that's good, I guess.
I don't think they want you crafting anything else while you're in a stellar mission. It feels pointless. You're just wasting time.
Yeah.
It just feels irrelevant, though. Fair enough.
So those issues were fixed on the 28th of April. However, tragedy would strike on May Day, May 1st, when it was time for Star Contributor, the Star Contributor of the week, to be announced. Something went wrong. We have confirmed that the process related to the designation of Star Contributor is not operating properly in Cosmic Explorer and is currently in the following state.
Cosmic Explorer?
Yeah, that's what it says. The Cosmic Exploration, I guess. The Star Contributor for April 29th, 2025 is now in a state where no one has been designated. Loperate has been designated.
That's good.
They
deserve some recognition.
I just love that someone worked really hard to be like, this is the week. This is the week. I'm finally in the top. This is it.
This is the day.
And you rush over there to see yourself, and then there's a Loperate.
But they don't get any recognition or kudos.
The
Loperates.
The Loperates, yeah.
Yeah,
they do a lot of work on the moon. A lot of good work.
That's true. As a result of the above, the Star Contributors from April 25th, 2025 to April 29th, 2025 have been shifted and treated as the Star Contributor from 1 day earlier. With this, the period of the designation has become 12 days.
Oh, no.
That's lame. You've lost 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Star
Unfortunate.
Yeah, the Star Contributor for April 23rd, 2025 is no longer recognized as the Star Contributor 8 days later.
Oh.
There you go.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Because this is the hardest thing to get in cosmic exploration. So this is kind of a big oopsie. This is you don't want to fuck this one up. Upon investigation, it has been determined that the problem was caused by an issue in synchronizing multiple instances in the process of calculating the number of days elapsed since the release of Cosmic Exploration, resulting in a gap in calculation. This issue affects only the processing on May 1st, 2025. It has all the times. And the processing is expected to be normal thereafter. Please note that it will be difficult for the system to correct the current data, which has already been shifted, and we apologize for the inconvenience to all the Star Contributors from April 23rd to April 29th. Unfortunately, we will not be able to guarantee the original 14-day award period. What a strange... How strange. It's like it's really the system runs them, not the other way around. You know what I mean? They just have to bow down to the machine.
You made this.
Well, I suspect my theory is that they tested this without the instances, so it wasn't an issue there.
Yeah.
Because why would they need multiple instances when testing?
They knew there would be, though. That shows a clear lack of foresight.
Yeah,
I agree.
They have had so much time. They've been talking about this since Endwalker. You've
already had a run of this kind of system in a few different ways. You know how busy they are. You know how you're going to need a lot of instances.
Yeah,
you must have thought about it.
And the fact that they're not able to fix it properly either. We kind of don't. We don't know. We can't guarantee the 14-day award period anymore.
Maybe they'll implement something similar to the lottery bug system that chat's bringing up, where you'll get if they give you some sort of compensation from the mods, and it's 20 prisms that replicate the effect.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that would be so funny.
God.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So there you go. That's a pretty big issue. And then there's an update regarding this, because this is, again, a serious problem. Follow-up. We would like to provide an update on the issue related to the designation of star contributor. We are continuing to investigate the issue and plan to update the server program in order to improve stability. Therefore, we will be conducting a brief emergency maintenance today on the Sinus Ardorum area in all worlds. The affected area will be unavailable during the emergency maintenance. This is all happening on May 1st. We apologize for the inconvenience and kindly ask for your understanding. We once again...
This actually happened on May 2nd. They announced it on May 1st.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. We once again apologize to those designated as star contributor who were affected by this issue. As stated yesterday, it will be extremely difficult to guarantee the original 14-day award period. However, as an apology for the inconvenience caused, we will be compensating a certain number of Cosmo credits and Lunar credits. GMs will
both.
inform individuals separately at a later date, so we kindly ask for your patience. Additionally, as compensation for the shortened award period, we are currently reviewing the creation of a special item
I was fucking right.
that will grant the star contributor status.
Yes.
No fucking way. You're getting Magic Prism's star contributor.
Oh boy.
We are also reviewing taking special action regarding the display of the Starward Standing Stella. Okay.
Can you make a black and white moment of me?
Yeah.
Within the
1 minute ago.
Too soon.
Each of these requires further development and will be implemented at a later date. Please wait for further notice.
At a later date. You will have completely forgotten you even won by the time this gets brought out.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
hope that they fuck up the implementation of the special item prism thing and make it tradable, and then it's like a black market of
Yeah.
being the best.
I mean, they're pretty strict in what they make tradable and not tradable.
Yeah, they
Well,
are. Yeah.
True.
So following that, there was an emergency maintenance, which
It's cut into my fishing time.
yeah, the servers went down at noon GMT, at 1 p.m. BST, 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Time.
Yeah, prime fishing time. Thank you very much.
Was down for half an hour. So the maintenance then completed, and that was that. But then, shortly after, several areas emergency maintenance on all world's extension. The emergency maintenance that is currently underway on several areas of all worlds will continue until 1:30 p.m. GMT, 2:30 p.m. BST, at 11:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Time.
Oh, even longer into your fishing time.
Yeah.
I just went to sleep.
Yeah. This content is rough on this game,
don't
it
know
seems.
why.
Yeah, it's cracking it. Maybe it's just so much more popular than they expected. You know, let's think
possible.
positively about that.
Yeah, that is true. There's always a lot of people on. That's true. And it is.
And yet they didn't predict having to have multiple instances in their testing.
Yeah, because I guess
Well, I think they might have
Firmament.
predicted it, but they didn't test for it.
Because Firmament did
Square.
not have instances, did
No,
it?
it was one instance, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, no, but Firmament had the issue of people being able to
Being
world
fit in.
travel and contribute to other people's firmaments,
And then
which
people
they
were,
realized,
locked out of their own server.
Yeah.
yeah.
But after they
times.
implemented the no world travelers, it never got full. I don't think I ever had got kicked out.
No,
after
I
that.
don't
Maybe
think so
during
either.
Fates, but I don't think so.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, you
maybe
can't
during
just try and
Fates.
Spam in. I think it might have had the issue with instance hopping, where there's like a small queue, but if you keep trying, you can eventually break through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
The line works.
The line.
the line works. God, what a
Don't
time.
talk about the line.
Yeah.
Have your servers got the extra Cosmo liners yet?
I've not been in there for
I
a
haven't
few days,
checked.
but last I checked,
I have no
we were
idea.
on rank 7. Let's check Ragnarok.
You are on rank
We're on
7.
rank 7 still.
Somehow you're behind Goblin.
There is a problem that
Ragnarok
I need to address
Yes.
this, because there is sometimes the event, the progress event, occurs at an inconvenient hour, but there will still be people on. So let's say the event starts at midnight Central European time, right? On a Wednesday. Bad time. Most Europeans will have gone to bed, but there are still people that are up, the night owls. You start working, this happened, I've experienced this, but people start working on the Fate. It's going slow, but you know you can do it if you just keep going. But then, about halfway through, people start tapping out because they're like, it's not going to work out. And they start leaving the Fate, and then they start like just crafting instead. That's why it does not progress. It's because you leave.
Stay up late, okay? You need to stay up.
Well, I understand if you have to log off. But the fact that people leave and then just go, I'm going to go craft instead. What?
That's the frustrating part. As frustrating as it was to get so close to completing it on Goblin for like rank 5 or 6, I can't remember. No one left. So I can say there's thankfully not an issue on my server.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, yeah, shout outs to Cactuar, who are the first server to reach rank 10.
Yeah. Yes, I was about to say that.
Well,
shout out.
We're
they have a gold
8.
star. What are you running?
Rank 8 for Zalera.
Okay.
Zalera, yeah, you are. Yeah, Ragnarok.
Ragnarok has a bunch of quitters.
Ragnarok's been really disappointing. It does have a bunch of quitters.
So disappointing.
They're too busy.
Who I see who no, they don't craft it. They go stand in the truck and do chair on.
They do chair on. It's
Go
like,
guys!
don't fucking cheer me on. You were part of this. You
Fuck you.
fucking idiot.
You know what? They're doing their favorite European pastime of G-posing and dressing up.
Yeah. God,
Ragnarok
stop being so
used to be the crafting
stereotypical. God damn
It
it.
used to be the raiding server, and then they left, and then it was the crafting server, and they've probably left to light as well.
Yeah.
We're just the G poses now,
Yeah.
and we're not even good at that.
We used to be
Something.
and now we're this. And
Ragnarok
it's bad because
We used to be a server that stood for something.
We used to make steel.
I almost opened up Shout Chat to be like, get the fuck back into this Fate. But
That's how you know it's bad, when Lakil's tempted to talk and shout chat angrily.
and I was ready to just call out names of the people, just taking names and be like,
People are doing that.
That would be the end of this podcast. You'd be banned. That fucking like famous or popular 14 podcaster harasses other players in shout chat.
yeah.
I think the community would commend him.
Well,
Yeah,
other
I
people,
think
I
they
will
would
say,
think.
other people did shout and try to like get people motivated to do it, but fell on deaf ears.
Come on.
We need to
free herb sesh
seriously-
if you do it.
That would actually get some
We need
people
to
going.
leave
probably.
Ragnarok. We need to move to light, where it's.
We
what
have
people
too.
like.
Our roots are too deep.
I know, but we need to uproot because light has actual players on Ragnarok.
But then
Yeah.
we will
We're
do
full of
what
the dead
light
boomers.
has. Light is dying. Sorry, the other way around. Chaos is dying because of that attitude. Because everyone's like, let's just go to light
Well,
where
that is
everyone
true.
is. There's going to be no one
you
left
gotta go.
on Chaos.
Yeah, but I want to play with real. I want to play with people. I'm not just G poses in the French.
We need to be better at promoting like Chaos.
Well, the French
this
are
is
doing
not.
better than Ragnarok.
This is
right now.
not.
Oh,
And this
Moogle is further ahead.
and this is not a great advertisement for Chaos. I will admit.
No, you start lying. Dude,
We
you
need
start the
you.
propaganda for chaos.
yeah, we need.
We need you to help us. We need come back. Come back. Come back.
Don't
Go
come
back.
to Crystal. We're still full. Get out of
Yeah.
here.
Well. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What a
Lucky.
yeah.
Must
yeah,
be
all-
nice.
I mean, Old of Crystal is at rank 8, so we're doing decently well.
all
yeah.
of Crystal hates you.
We're starting to build. We're starting to dig our tunnels for more Cosmo liners.
Well, screw you. We've basically got the tent still on the moon, and that's about
We
it.
are never going to
Everyone
progress.
goes, "Whoa, good job, guys! Cheer on!" Right, I'm gonna go. And craft
We're gonna
and then
be
AFK for
eternally
4
on
hours.
step 7 because people just fucking
Yeah.
quit. Bunch of quitters.
Quitters. That's what you are. Prove us wrong.
I was seething when the Fate failed, and there was actually quite a lot left, but I watched as the like progress meter just slowed and slowed until I just it didn't move at all, and I'm like, fuck you all.
It's disappointing.
Okay.
It's disappointing.
I mean,
We
I will
would
say
have been probably in the old, like in the Firmament days, we would have been the leader for Europe.
Yeah,
in terms of, like,
that's
rank.
true.
And now
Were we
we are
not?
so far behind.
during
We
first
were. No, we were. For
Yeah.
Firmament, we were.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
nowadays, what are we?
Nothing. We have
Rank
nothing.
7ers.
We used to be the premier raiding server.
Yeah,
we
we
used
had
to
it
be
all.
the premier crafting server, and then the split happened.
You were sundered. Now you're lesser.
It's crazy how
Completely
bad
destroyed.
that has. Yeah, you've. It's very disappointing.
Yeah, it's tragic.
Do you remember us celebrating the sundering in Eureka?
We weren't
Animals?
we
Yes,
weren't celebrating.
We were
We
mourning.
were saying
mourning.
goodbye to
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, that
It was such a nice
sad.
day to finally
Was
see
that
those
bef-
people.
That was before World Visit, and that's why we had to do it in Animos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but we were all.
And it was such a mess because you couldn't select
Choose a server, an
the
instance.
server, so people had to like reconnect, like just keep going until they found our instance. It was great. And then the next day they were gone. Half of the people in the screenshot that we took just overnight
Gone
disappeared.
forever with the wind.
Yeah.
Chat, if you're surprised why Balmung isn't further along, because like Lakil is mentioning for Ragnarok, there are these people standing around G-posing and using Chiron.
Bunch of
Similarly, though,
withers.
Balmung was really good in the firmament days.
It's different. Hold on. They're not G-posing. They're using Mary Lamontoro.
E-posing.
And they're doing something else.
Yeah.
You know those cabins that have appeared in, like rank 5, don't go in them.
Oh, the room, yeah, the interiors.
There's a tie in a lot of the doors, if you notice.
Ah,
God.
awful.
All right. Well, there you go. That's cosmic exploration, folks. Come to Ragnarok. Just come back. We need help. All right. That's that. We got some MogMail that I think we should get into. Okay, yeah, let's do that. So I don't know why I was thinking about that. Let's go. MogMail. Oh, no. No!
Well, no.
Oh,
No.
Honey Rider.
Thank you.
That wasn't even the MogMail we're reading. This was from Menemusine Ron from Lich. Hi, speakers. Is Lich is chaos, right? Or is that light as well? I don't remember who got split off. Why am I asking
we
this?
have Lich.
I remember when Lich was made. It was such a baby. I think it's light now. It was one of the overflow servers
Lich is
that was
light, yeah.
made.
But they're only on rank 8, so don't worry, like every fucking one else.
Yeah.
Well, you're on rank 7, so...
There are people on Chaos who are on rank 6 still.
The fact that Lich is ahead of us, which was a server that was new, and I remember when there were like 3 people in Limsa, like months after it was released, and now they're ahead of us. Get it together, Ragnarok!
Ragnarok, please.
Come back. Hi, speakers. This is a theory that spawned from 7.2, so spoilers, sorry. Yeah, we're fine. Calyx calls the Alexandrian world for the 9th, and it is commented that it is naive of us to think only we knew of the reflections. The thing is, who created the naming conventions of the reflections? From what I remember, first time we heard the name The First was from the Warriors of Darkness, who have worked with the Asians, and Oriange, who was being a lying liar, who lied with the Asians. First time we hear the Void being referred to as 13th is by Emet-Selch, and fandom took on the names and placed it on the reflections shown in Shadowbringers. We have an example in Wuklamat that someone not familiar with the shard system, and when we do not have the resources to know the reflection's position, people would name the world based on other concepts, like Unlost World, rather than a number. It makes me think that Asians were involved with Calyx and his organization, and that is why he calls his world 9th, and partly why he is obsessed with evolving humankind. After all, he knows the how to do so. Either he is an Asian, or he was/is working together with one, and he is working to evolve humans through a rejoining, or he is like Varys Sals Galvas, full name, and knows the secrets, but is working against or parallel to them, looking for another way to evolve the shards in a way that does not require the rejoinings. Or he wishes for rejoinings, but that the 9th will become the new source and take the ether and shards into itself, rather than the 9th being just another shard that will be absorbed into the source. I am ambivalent on the possible return of Asians. I would personally like if we could meet the remaining convocation, even if through side quests, and since they couldn't stay away from Reflections as a story element, I don't mind if Ascians return as well, temporarily. What do you think? Well, we have essentially discussed most of this before, but this is a good point again.
We're doing the Ubermensch thing again.
Yeah.
If you want a black and white moment, Mnemosyne, you have to like pick one theory. So you like earn that.
A lot of it.
No. They're doing what we do. We shotgun spread, and eventually you'll get one.
One of them, shortly.
Honestly, it's slightly awkward writing to call it the 9th. I don't like the idea of us being naive to think not everyone knows about the namings. I don't think that's naive. I think the majority of people don't know it, and I think it's surprising, and it should be surprising that someone else does know it.
Yeah,
we have scenes where we explain it to people, though. Isn't there like a couple?
Very few, though.
Where we like, there's like a fade to black a moment here too. Where essentially, it's implied you explain, you know, the source, all that.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think it would have been. I think it is naive if you think that one of the people involved in the fusing of two shards doesn't know about the concept of shards.
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
Yeah,
I mean, it's almost definitely an Ascian because they are the ones who have come up with this naming convention and spread it.
Have we? I think we've probably talked about it the last time we did. But why are they like? How do we know the? Yeah, I remember we've talked about this. But like, how do they name them? Like, what is the 9th? What does it mean that it's the 9th?
Clock positions.
Yeah, they spread out into positions.
The way Grahar and Emet-Selch presented it, they showed it as a loop, and they also suggested that the 1st and the 13th are the ones that are closer to us. So that suggests that there is some degree of they are in a different space, and we know 2 are closer to us. It doesn't necessarily mean the rest of them are in a circle, but they're further away.
It could be like discs stacked on each other. And there are the 2 closest ones on either side, and then they go further out.
Okay. All right.
Impossible to know.
It's very nebulous.
It's also, again, weird to choose to call your world by the moniker the Ascians have given it. Like, I'm from the 9th. Like, I'm from the 9th reflection of the source. Like, it's a bit... You'd come up with a better name. I guess if you're kind of into the terminology and, like, the fusing and stuff.
Yeah, it could show or explain that like he's so detached now from the reality of the 9th, like he's just okay with calling it the 9th because he's like, well, I don't care, I'm gonna become the Ubermensch. Like, it's dope.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had the theory for a little bit that it's possible that Calyx is the endless form of a former Ascian. So in that sense, they were able to continue even after the body died, as with the memories of an Ascian, which could technically mean that there is another Ascian out there that has been awoken with Calyx's memories.
That's a lot of layers. That's a lot of layers. God.
You know what? Make the story complicated for once. Sure, that's okay.
Sure,
you can have like a part of the plot where you need a Wikipedia explanation. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that not a little bit sad for that Ascian? Because like the whole Emet-Selch and Hythlodaeus and whatever finally returning to the live stream sort of idea at the end of Endwalker was really sweet. But if this person's an endless, they are essentially trapped forever out of the live stream until we release them or whatever.
Yeah.
So that could be an interesting plot point.
That could be one. I think it's fine to have Ascians coming back too. I don't think they're ever going to be like a major threat ever again, or not to the same scale as like summoning Zodiark. But like, we know there are still more left over, and even the most jobber of an Ascian is still like a sizable threat.
Exactly.
Well, the most jobber of Ascians that were members of the Convocation, I would say.
Okay.
There are lesser Ascians that are just based on seemingly members of the ancient community. This particularly comes up in the Summoner questline, so I don't know if it will ever come up in the MSQ.
Right.
But like, there are people that are like Ascians that were just like memories of random people from the ancient world.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just had to bring back my dog and make him an Ascian. Come on.
God. Yeah.
The only one that Nabrialis is Nabrialis was a member of the Convocation.
Yeah.
But he was a bit
He was just wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I think
the Convocation are good enemies. I miss when Ascians were more of a threat.
Yeah, but I think
That's over, Mela. That's over.
that is yeah.
They
Well,
already tore down.
We can't rehash it again.
I know.
I do think that the evidence is starting to like the fact that he's referring to it as the 9th and using the naming convention provided by Ascians does seem to imply that there is some sort of Ascian link here anyway. So we are probably getting some sort of Ascian storyline again. It might be, but a new take on it, I hope. They're no longer the all-powerful beings that we are used to. But like Rollo said, they're still a threat.
I suspect Calyx either is or was an Ascian or has outsmarted an Ascian, because I feel like the way the story is playing out, I don't feel like he's subservient to anyone.
No. Yeah.
No, that's true.
Yeah, fair.
We have to think about the key. Did he make it, or where did it come from? Why did it end up on our world?
Yeah.
And also that the story is at some point going to pivot and give us like the seeds of the next major, who's the major villain? I mean, we talk about Ultima a lot, like the real Ultima.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
so
the High
Seraph. We're going to need to get seeds of that. The High Seraph, like the real High Seraph.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like I don't know if Calyx is going to be around for a long time, or if he's just going to be a small piece in. I don't know.
I don't know.
He's going to have to pivot soon. I don't know where he ends up. Maybe we get rid of Sphene, but he
get rid of
Dr.
Sphene
Robotics away, and then just something good.
Well, that's an interesting thing. I mean, this is beside this in MogMail, but I wonder what like Sphene's journey is going to be as well. Like she has like a whole
minimal.
You think it's going to be minimal?
I think the fact that she's been brought back like 6 times means.
Well, this is the real her.
I know, and I want her to have it. Like, I want her to just have a nice little house in Solution 9, and just, you don't. Maybe she will become the ruler again. It might be weird though. It'd be really weird for her to become the ruler again.
No, you're right, Mela. I think they should embrace republicanism. No more queens or kings. I'm over it. They're electing presidents now. No more baby president.
No,
I hate baby president.
The blueberry is taking over.
Well, the blueberry is too young to rule, so it makes sense that
she could be the regent.
Yeah, he will be regent.
I mean, Galuljar has also only inherited the head of.
True.
The throne.
What's it called?
The crown is split.
No,
there's two.
Reason was
Resolve.
Yes.
Why does the baby have an army? Who let the baby have an army?
His father.
Yeah.
Baby president, don't launch the nukes. No.
I hope that in one expansion's time, like the next, like the 8.1 to 3 patch is Galuljar's invasion of Eorzea. Like he's just like, I'm just gonna have a go at it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
To go back to the Ascian issue before we wrap this up, remember that Yoshi P did remind us before the expansion, and it still hasn't really been relevant, that to remember and think about the names of the convocation. So
that's true.
It's not really a matter. I mean, it could be a case of Yoshi P's a lying liar who lies, but it feels more like an issue of not if but when Ascians will come back into the plot line.
Yeah.
He do be lying. He do.
He does lie a lot, but I think
you can't help it.
I think the Ascians are one of the better villains they've come up with.
I mean, I feel like a lot of the depth of Ascians is very heavily on the shoulders of Ishikawa, because I don't think before Ishikawa they were all that deep of a character.
No,
that's fair.
They absolutely were not.
They were mysterious and interesting still.
Look at La Habrea even just pre-Pandemonium. Though Pandemonium wasn't written by Ishikawa, it was written by the main scenario writer for Dawn Trail.
True. Okay, well, thank you, Menemacine. We can probably do this next one as well, and then we'll go into the great discussion. This is from Lamau Tia. Also from Lich.
That is
a good name. Yeah. Hi there, speakers. Just some quick questions about abilities. Do you have a preference between passives that boost ability potencies versus abilities being replaced by new ones with better potencies and animation? Regarding the replacements, Do you then prefer the new abilities keeping the old name with numbers, i.e. Broil, Broil 2, Broil 3, Broil 4 for some reason, or that they get entirely new names, i.e. Sucker, Consultation? Also, if you have time, in regards to, for example, White Mage, whose abilities started nature-themed but over time became more light-themed, are there any thoughts on new abilities changing the job's themes or aesthetics? Okay.
Mm-hmm. You know what I don't like?
What?
Is when a trait adjusts the strength of a
Agreed.
skill.
Very boring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's-
like proper upgrades.
Yeah.
I like
I
fire
underst-
4, fire 5.
I
fire
agree.
6.
I understand why they do it. It's less work because they don't have to make a new animation.
I want to
Yeah,
feel
everything
how-
can't be new, which I understand.
Yeah.
No, I agree. But like, when you go from the level 1 skill to the level 4 skill, it looks so much more cool. And you think, go on, just one more.
Yeah. The
One more
passives in 14, like that just boost ability poses, are usually very not that
They're
exciting.
an MMO staple. They are
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
boring.
I
would
will
like-
take it when you get charges though. Extra
Oh,
charges
yeah.
is though that's kind of exciting depending on the
That's
skill.
different, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I would really like it if Ruin 2 stopped being Ruin 2 at some point for scholars and became a newly named skill that doesn't look like it comes from a Realm Reborn.
Fair.
Well, 8.0 is when they're making the game good, don't worry.
Yeah,
That's what
God.
happens. Brand new skills.
Some of those old animations, man. Boot
Yeah.
shine on Monk. I look at him like that. When I see that skill, like it's just like it's so silly. It's just like they're just like, why does it look like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there are some skills from that era that we've lost that had great animations, like Flash with the.
Ooh.
Now that was
Yeah.
a great skill.
Yeah.
Useless
Yeah. Useless now.
in this day and age.
Yeah.
Well, in this, that's
Oh,
why they got rid of
aggro
It
it.
used to blind the enemies.
I
What a-
loved it.
Well,
Loved it.
and also
And
it was
required.
before.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Paladins didn't have an AOE aggro builder.
Yeah.
No.
So we had to do a DPS loss. I didn't play Paladin really back then.
You did
We
like
had a
shield
DPS
lob
loss.
and flash. That was it. That's how
Yeah.
you. That's how
God,
you.
back in
pulled.
those days, I remember having to assign targets while I was doing pulls in dungeons.
Oh yeah,
Paladin.
I remember that era.
I missed
I
that
did that
era.
too.
Yeah, that was all of a
Because,
Realm
yeah.
Reborn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you had to single target as a Paladin. Don't
Yeah.
pull them before
Yeah.
I
And you
fully
would-
built my aggro up.
I can't AoE. Also, if I'm a warrior, what if I ran out of TP?
Yeah.
Then, sorry.
Exactly. Yeah.
What if I'm
You
battle
gotta
managing my
do-
TP?
1, 2, 3. Target to sleep or
Yeah.
CC, depending on who you
I,
cast.
it was kind
it
of
was such a good
exhausting to be a
time.
paladin, and you went into like a big pull, and you're like, oh god, I have
Oh,
time to
yeah.
mark them all. But then, blessedly, one of the other party members start marking for me. I loved that. It's like, oh, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, do you number versus new names? What do you think about that when it gets upgraded?
I only really care about numbers, I think, on some of the magic jobs, really, or particularly black and white mage and red
Yeah, I
mage,
agree.
really.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I'm like, what?
It's
They don't have numbers really in the first place, so
Nah.
like, yeah. Just
Yeah,
have
can
the
you
cool
imagine
names.
like Oppo kick 2?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, melee skills have rarely had numbers in
Yeah.
Final Fantasy history, so that would be weird.
Yeah.
It's magic.
It does come
More
with
or
a
less.
problem in 14 though, because sometimes they remove skills, which means
Yeah.
you
Yes.
end up with I can't think of. Do we have an example of that
You
now? Or
have it,
they
don't you?
fixed
Doesn't
it?
White Mage go like stone 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Dio like 1,
Dio.
3 or something? Doesn't it skip one?
You're-
Aren't you missing a Dio?
I don't think it
something?
is.
Holy skips from 1 to 3.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
things
right.
like
that
Holy,
existed.
yeah, holy goes from holy to holy 3. Yeah.
That's dumb. I don't like that.
We're
I
holy
like
too, though.
numbers.
The holy 2 you only have for, or is it gone completely now? No, it is. It's,
Holy 2 has never existed.
oh no,
I don't
you're
think.
right. It never existed.
They just went from 1 to 3.
But there are examples of skills that were removed that cut into that. Like, for a period of time, there was a miasma and a miasma 3 for scholars and summoners, but there was no miasma 2.
Yeah. So the numbering system is kind of not
Yeah.
working.
It's lore-wise, though. There is a
I-
Holy 2 in the world, probably.
Yeah.
but you
It
just
makes
never needed
less. it's because they're numbers that it's weirder for us. Because in Japan and the other regions, they still use like holiga.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter as much because what does that mean?
Yeah.
But then we got the law in Google anyway.
That's
I always prefer the numbers over the ga ending. It's just it's not an easy
easier.
read. It's harder
That's
on the
true.
eyes.
It's
I agree.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
I don't mind getting like if I had like fire 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it turned into like apocalypse or something. That'd be pretty cool. But it depends because you need all the fires for your rotation. Unless we change to like high fire 4 next time.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. As for theme changes, I don't think it's happened too often. Really, there's some small. There's of course White Mage going from nature and wind.
And also, let me just say, the MogMail says over time. No, it happened with the blink of an eye, and we were suddenly
one expansion.
You forgot all about rocks, man. That sucked.
Just happened.
That disappoints me actually.
I think I mean, I can understand it being disappointing, but I do think White Mage is one of the only jobs that has had that as justifiable within the MSQ story.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's true. But
White Mage has stayed true to its roots.
But it is, let's just
forever.
mention that it is not touched upon in the job quest, in the last job quest, which happened. We did get the last job quest after the change, and I remember when we talked about it, it's like, it's probably going to explain everything. No, this is just how it's always been. This is just how it's always been.
I don't think it's...
Feel
Well,
like,
they don't say anything, is the point.
I think white magic is kind of, or has always been like light versus the black magic's darkness.
Yeah.
But it's just
astral.
within the context of this game, you started as a conjurer, and it was very specifically geomancer, really. But they just didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of disappointing. But
All
it
right.
gives them the option to move into a geomancer, like elemental magic class if they really wanted.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
you've got rid of it.
Yeah.
There's one that's partly skill and then partly also just overall theming. Machinist has gone from tech engineer to fucking cowboy.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, that's
It is
true.
like, but it still keeps the engineer stuff sort of.
Yeah.
It's very
Machinist makes no sense, dude. They have a flamethrower, they have a bioblaster, they can throw chainsaws at people. Like, they do not. They have
Like-
both a turret and like a robot queen.
Yeah.
What is all this
Machinist
shit?
Machinist has started leaning more in the direction of where it was going in like Final Fantasy VI.
like
It's rough. It's
if you
rough.
look at the AF gear for Heaven's Word and Stormblood, right? Because it's Shadowbringers. They go, okay, cowboy now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, inventor, lots of pockets, kind of button up stuff. You're like, okay, goggles, like, okay, I see it, you know? And then Shadowbringers is like, no, you're a cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like. I liked the Sky Pirate look. I really liked
Yeah.
I feel as if that's more related to like the aesthetic of the job gear rather than the skills. I feel like the skills have always can maintain the engineer vibe.
Yeah.
They've been kind of pulling in the cowboy stuff more, or they've been adding more to it.
Yeah.
The shotgun in particular for the AoE.
And that's true.
Yeah.
It's very much like a
That's
frontier shotgun.
Boom
Just throw it away.
Yeah.
They do still have the engineer stuff, but I don't really like the mix of it. I would prefer it to just be fully one or the other, personally.
I agree with you.
Sometimes they get a little too futuristic-y as well with some of their skills. I don't know if I like the automaton queen that much.
Why is the
feel like
cowboy
it-
summoning a Gundam? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Well, exactly. I feel like the more lower, like not low tech, but the kind of the grounded tech from Sky Steel Manufactory, where it was invented. It's not a real job; it's an invented job in this universe.
Like with the turrets that they used to have, they were
The turrets
believable
were nice.
for the
Rook
class.
and whatever the other one was.
Yeah.
They were nice. I
Skinner.
liked them.
Yeah.
It's all because
the
they
lasers,
started
exactly.
flipping.
The lasers are there's a lot of things that are weird with Machinists now.
Yeah.
Once you hit a certain level, it's not about what you're learning from people. It's what you're making up yourself. You're just that fucking brilliant.
Why did I invent all the backflips? What happened to just standing and shooting, man? Come on.
Has to look
Yeah.
cool.
You're still the warrior of light. You've got so much athleticism. You might as well use it.
Yeah.
Why do I have like add-ons from like a shmup where I have two little things shooting around? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
In regards to theming, I'd rather have what happened to Lakil, as much as I know that you don't really love it, than what's the case with Scholar, where it can't decide whether it wants to be a nun or like a battle strategist.
Yeah.
So I have like skills like Art of War, and then I also have a skill that turns me into a nun. So
I like your nun.
I haven't seen that skill in a while. Actually, I totally forgot that's a thing.
Yeah.
Your little nun outfit.
Yeah.
Your
Which is
wings
weird.
or whatever.
I am the nun. I'm supposed to be the nun.
Yeah,
exactly.
Stolen valor. What the fuck?
Once again, Scholar steals
Imagine
from White
that.
Mage.
Yeah, so like the scholars were supposed to be the strategists on the battlefield, at least in the era of Nim. Imagine someone dressed in what happens to the scholars when they use that skill, leading their army on the battlefield.
That's all you. You just made that shit up yourself.
Yeah.
We need all of these healers have gone too far, so we need to bring it back to just a new class like Chirurgeon, where it's just treat wound.
You have to play a mini game.
Yeah.
Rat bandage.
I feel like that's basically Sage.
But they're so flashy though. I
Yeah.
want to. You have all Chirurgeon actions are touch based, so you have to be right next to them.
Mm.
We're never
Touch-
going to
oh
have
my
a melee
God.
healer. We've
Melee
discussed the
healing.
possibility of this in the
Set
past.
bone. It's like a 3-minute cast. It fully heals them.
They have a little splint on their leg.
Yeah. Now that would be good.
Oh God.
Not with this. Yeah, but I think those are only really two I can think of that have like changed theming wise, because like Dark Knight it's changed, but it's still edgy and whatever.
Paladin's become like very flashy, but it's still a paladin.
Yeah.
Like I never would have thought Paladin would be summoning like 25-foot swords from the heavens, but it still fits them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, Paladin has shifted from just like a knight to a holy knight, as Chad has said.
Yeah.
Warrior has just always been unga bunga.
Warrior's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Gunblade has pretty much stayed true.
Mm-hmm.
Not
I mean,
that
Gunblade
very
hasn't
much.
existed for long enough to really have much of an identity change either.
Yeah. I think a lot of
No.
melee ones stick. Monk and like ninja and samurai,
Yeah.
Reaper, they all kind of
I mean-
they've stuck quite
I mean,
well.
Dragoon started
Maybe not.
Dragoon started shifting from being more realistic to like the more like first brood inspired skills.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. They really
it's-
embraced it.
It does feel like a natural progression though, especially with the story after Heavensward, like, incorporating more
Can
of
you
like the dragon stuff.
Yeah.
can we for Dragoon, can we please get rid of the first skill in their rotation?
No.
Or change
What,
it?
True Thrust, I think is how it is.
Just a very
The fact-
simple poke.
It's the first skill they ever learn, and it still looks the same
Yeah.
more than 10 years later.
Yeah.
It
You should
gives like
always-
medieval peasant poking you with like a stick,
Yeah, but like the idea that like they start with just poking you with a stick, and by the end they're summoning like demonic circles in the sky before they jump down.
It's
upon
just
you.
such dramatic
Yeah,
escalation.
But then they return to the poke.
Yeah, then they go
Yes,
back.
they always
I
return
like
to the
that.
poke.
No,
I like that.
doesn't it get replaced by Raiden Thrust
No,
every other time
You're
too?
right. No,
Oh,
you're-
yeah,
you're
that's
right.
true.
If you're
Yeah.
continuing your rotation, you never see it again.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So
That's
you
true.
So it's
a good
almost
dragoon
essentially
only
replaced,
pokes
but
once.
Yeah.
yeah. Poke once,
Oh,
one poke, chomp.
God.
Uh,
Okay. Well, there you go.
Classic.
Thank you, Lamau Tia.
Love it.
We're gonna
Yeah, very good name.
move on to the great discussion. We're gonna talk about Tuliyollal. So let's go.
mm-hmm.
All right, and in the great discussion, we are asking the question: what about Tuliyollal? That's the question. This is a question that's we've been intrigued by this this discussion that occurred on the subreddit, which essentially says that, and you'll probably, all of you will probably agree, that post MSQ, it seems like we've sort of abandoned Tuliyollal and focusing more on Solution 9 and the
Northern continent.
Alexandria. I'll read the post so you understand what we're going to talk about today.
Who is it by?
This is by Triple TR1 Pull 3. Okay, I'm gonna change my battery. I'm gonna change my battery while I'm reading. Okay, this is pro gamer strats. Okay, here we go. I personally loved the vibes of Tuliyollal and had the most fun with the MSQ of Dawntrail during the Rite of Succession. Even if I wasn't the biggest fan of the story, I loved the location. But to me, it seems like they weren't as interested in further exploring Tuliyollal as they were in the cyberpunk vibes. The post-game focuses entirely on Alexandria, minus one small diversion with Koana, and none of the dungeons post-95 even take place south of Tuliyollal. I've enjoyed...
That's not entirely... Oh, wait, no, yeah, that is true, actually.
Yeah.
I was going to say that I was going to bring up Tender Valley, but that is technically north of Tuliyollal.
That is, yeah.
I've enjoyed the most recent patch, and I'm looking forward to the later patches, but a nagging feeling in the back of my mind is sad that we most likely never will get a deeper look at the southern part of the continent after this storyline is over, outside of maybe a variant dungeon or something in 9.0. We're talking specifically MSQ here, because any other content that takes place is optional. We're talking about, like, story.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do we feel about that?
In fairness, though, just as a positive for Triple, or a little bit of counterbalance, the amount of like exposition and explaining the culture and really introducing you to this new continent was quite high compared to some other expansions and some areas where you kind of get a, by the way, this is the Azium Steppe, Sailor, let's go. Like you don't get much on their culture. So we did get a good amount at least, but maybe that's why they feel this way, is because they really enjoyed learning about it, and now we've moved on.
We've moved on to another place that we have toured, like we've said before, several times now, Solution 9. And it seems like the story is going to keep staying with Solution 9. That is where the core of the post-expansion plot is.
It's hell for me as someone who prefers the, more fantasy aesthetic than the more
and
cyberpunk aesthetic.
And Tuliyollal is, like, in my humble onion, probably the best city that we have got, like, that this game has currently. Like, this is the most detailed, largest. Like, I still remember when I walked through that city for the first time, being, like, overwhelmed by how large it was.
The verticality is, like, it really just still blows me away.
Yeah.
And the region has good zones. Maybe Yaktel and Kozumauka are slightly similar. But Urka Patch is quite unique. And then even north, like Shaloni, I know it's not Tuliyollal.
No.
Whatever the northern one's called, but like that's
still part of Tural.
Yeah.
Just,
I really like that area.
Yeah.
And I would more like to be in those zones than I would in the depressing new version of Yasulani and Solution 9.
I have a little bit of a... I don't know if this is just me, but do you think maybe they are hesitant to bring more story into... Because we know that they write the story way ahead, but they might make adjustments, underway. I don't know how that works. We know that the Dawntrail MSQ was polarizing, I'll just say. So do you think it's like purposeful that we're not going back? Like they don't want to start another Wuklamot plot?
Do you not think, though, that a large portion of the player base was more positive on the
I don't know. I don't know if
I don't think that's true.
Going by what we've seen when we talk positively about the MSQ.
Maybe then. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we get...
No, I think it's too late to turn the ship around. Like maybe by 7.3 you might see the effects of, if they do choose to respond to whatever criticism, maybe then you'll start seeing some like changes there. But I think it's entirely just it was their choice.
Okay, yeah.
I think the most that you could say that they've responded is arguably the pushing back of Wuklamot in terms of story relevance, at least within 7.2.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's true.
Which is sad, because there is a lot they could do with Tural in terms of MSQ. Not
so much.
I mean, we did... Yeah, it's weird, because post MSQ, it was like we got one half Tural, and then the second half is Solution 9 stuff, and then it just...
Are you suggesting that the part with Kona is one half? Because I would suggest it's much less than that.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe not. But like, there was. I just feel like after we got to Solution 9, they're like, okay, this is where we'll stay from now on and move on. And then Tuliyollal has turned into just the side quest hub now. That's all it is.
Well, I think this is. I do agree with this person that they are focusing more on Solution 9, all that stuff in Alexandria. But I don't think it is uncommon for the story structure. With how the patches go, because it was like that in Stormblood, where you had the Far East. That was the focus of the point, like the first 3 patches.
Yeah.
Or maybe first 2.5.
Well,
so
I would say this is worse than what happened there, because Alamigo still got 4.1. That was entirely about
That's
Alamigo.
true, the political
4.2
patch.
and 4.3 is when it shifted to Doma.
Yeah.
But I still don't think it's like exactly.
It's
it's
following
not out of the ordinary.
a similar
but
pattern. Yeah, I agree.
I agree on
hope
that.
they go back, because I mean, I think I've said it before, but I think my favorite part of Dawn Trail has always been Yak Tural in general. Like, I think it was very cool exploring it, and I wanted more of it.
I mean, I know that you say you hope they go back. I hope they go back to Alamigo as a city.
Yeah.
Well, that is true.
So
They got to develop it more. You got to make it look like Turkey. You got to make it. I want to see more Turkish shit before we go back. You know?
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think they talk like people from Scotland.
No,
Aren't they like Northern-
This is Scotland. It's Scotland, Rollo. I think you're mistaken.
Right.
I think there's an issue with if they had stayed in Tural, we might have risked just getting a diplomacy patch, where we were working on the deal with Razat Han or whatever. It'd been, people might have got bored of that as well.
Yeah, but they didn't have to do that. They can write whatever they want.
Yeah.
I know.
You can make.
I don't know what was. I guess it was pressing that Solution 9 was suddenly.
The map is just your stage, your set. You decide what happens there. You know what I mean?
You decide where the pieces go.
Yeah.
I think my main issue with Solution 9, outside of the clash of aesthetics, is going through the same trope again of having equivalents of people from one world to the other again, which is like, it's a bit, and I don't want, I like battery fresh Granult, energy drink Granult. I like him, but at the end of the day, it's another one.
Yeah.
It's another version of them all.
That doesn't bother me as much because they're such minor characters. Like, if it was like, if Sphene was like the 9th version of Kane Senna, then that would be annoying.
That would be weird.
Maybe she is.
Oh God, we can't. Oh, no.
Why isn't our Kane Senna this interesting?
She wasn't a cool robot. That's why.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, she's not a robot anymore.
Maybe they'll both be dead by the end of the expansion.
I do have confidence. I think whenever we get to the pivot at 7.3 or whatever, we'll kind of reel back a little bit. We'll do a little bit more Tuliyollal stuff in general, and then the eventual other pivot to the new expansion. But I think a lot of that can still take place in Tuliyollal.
I mean, the issue I have with that is that, like, sometimes when they switch the pivot, they abandon the new area entirely. In Shadowbringers, not that it would have made much sense, but like in Shadowbringers, like 5.4 and 5.5 weren't in Shadowbringer zones at all, really.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of the nature of how they tell the story and how they want to like dedicate their time. They still do small stuff here in the other zones, like side quest. Trials, all that kind of stuff. But I think we all want to see as much as the world.
Are they even doing that this expansion? Even Hildebrand is in Alexandria.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a sad.
What has Tural got? What has Tuliyollal gotten since 7.0? All I can think of is the additional Corn Servant quest.
Yeah.
Don't you fucking diss
and even the new.
I'm not dissing that, but I want more than just the Corn Servant quest.
Bosja is in the region, but it's the Bermuda Triangle off the coast.
That is, it's not. That could be what we need, though.
Yeah, that could be what we need.
I will also say that, like, the Occult Crescent does seem to be referencing things back in Eorzea as well, rather than things that are on Tural.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and Cosmic Exploration's on the moon, so it doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah. But it was like that for Shadowbringers too, where Bosja was not in the first, at all.
I don't mind too much.
The Trial series was also not on the first either.
Yeah.
The raid was.
The pivots are usually exciting, and I think the points 3, 4, and 5 are usually the better parts of the cycle anyway. If the choice is abandon Tural and therefore no longer Solution 9 versus still in Solution 9 for 3 more patches, I'll take the abandonment, to be honest. I don't want 3 more patches of story in this. I had the pivot happening in Solution 9.
I am feeling a little fatigued.
I'm a little bored.
It's so grown worthy. If this was 5 patches like the fucking Void Quest, I would never want to see RGB in my life. It's not going to be that. But
no.
Part of the issue of setting so much in Alexandria and Solution 9 is they essentially have 2 zones to play with. They have Solution 9 and they have Heritage Found. Because maybe we'll go to Unlost World or Living Memory in the next patch.
Yeah.
Because because we might be chasing down Calyx there. And we know that Sveen came from there. But there's not very much reason up until this point to go outside of these 2 zones. We briefly forayed into Shaloni to help Kona stand in front of a cow. But other than that, we have not really gone. It feels very restricted in terms of where we're seeing, which is why I was a little. I'm not disappointed that Hildebrand is in Solution 9, but it just feels like there's even less reason to stay in Tuliyollal governed zones.
Yeah.
There's far too much that's been pushed into it, and ruining Heritage Found by making it also purple. Just makes it a little even more draining to be there.
Yeah.
It's fine, but there's the only thing we see of original Alexandria is in the dungeon and ruins around the zone. I want to see that aesthetic more.
I was when I was doing that, I was like, oh, that's nice. Fantasy.
I would love to be in
more traditional fantasy.
I
miss
fantasy.
this.
It's something possible for them though, if they want to and have the story allows it. They could make a new small zone like the Void Quest did. Without being as long as a Void Quest, which that zone was barely used too, which it was fairly
the domain.
Big. Yeah, the domain, it was a pretty decently sized settlement.
It was updated.
I'm shocked we never went back there.
Yeah, I know. All that and you still
and it had NPCs too.
It did have NPCs.
It had heaps of NPCs in it.
Yeah, it was really quite decent.
Changing dialogue too.
Yeah, and the single worst patch cycle ever, probably.
Yeah,
we at least had some.
I think they could do that again. They could find a reason to make some low fantasy or thing area or whatever.
Yeah.
I also will say 6.2 is before the fatigue set in, so that was it really benefited from that.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
It was also the first one where they let us explore where dungeon exploration was a major part of the MSQ.
That's true too.
Yes.
I'm okay with dungeon exploration. As long as it's too samey where it's run along, click on 3
It depends on how it's It depends on how it's used because with the Fell Court of Troya, that made sense. When we were running around, I can't remember the name of the dungeon, but the second one, not the second, no, not Lunar Subterrane. We never ran around that. The one that was in Garlemald, it just felt
the Reaper hideout?
Unnecessary.
The Reaper,
yeah. Whatever that dungeon.
It felt unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say, we didn't bring it up earlier, and in case people in the comments bring this up, the society quests are in Tuliyollal.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So far.
Yeah.
So that is good. But I will also say that the Pelu Pelu society quest is, as I said at the time, and we haven't really reviewed it, arguably the worst society quest we've ever gotten. So that's not encouraging.
No.
So I have better hopes for the Mamul Jar society quest.
Yeah.
Lapis Manalis.
I think they have a much more interesting. Yeah, thank you. I think the Mamul Jar have a much more interesting culture, and because their culture is evolving, the Pelu Pelu didn't really face much conflict during the occurrences of Dawn Trail.
My issue with the Pelu Pelu questline was that it didn't really explore Pelu Pelu culture very much.
Well,
very little trading.
Yeah. Well, there was the trade mini.
The whole point was they wanted to do a little bit, but very minimal.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not Pelu Pelu doesn't just mean go into that animation where it goes shing 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 shing.
Yeah.
Whoa, profit identified, like a Ferengi.
Yeah.
Money.
They have a really interesting culture as like a sort of nomadic merchant people. It's very like they were.
And
I
about-
loved Urqupatch.
Yeah,
then
and
it was
about
that.
always seeking an equivalent trade.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what did we do? Made a travel agency. What?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
We
a
didn't
funny
even-
reference, sort of, to the commercial thing that
Yeah.
they did for. I think that was only in the West, that promotion. Really.
I would
That
the
bit,
travel
yeah.
the Tural travel agency. Yeah,
Yeah,
But
travel
it was so
Tural or whatever.
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like.
Um,
Yeah, I agree. The Mamulja. I mean, yeah, we can. I mean, there's a lot of
Well, it was a
dark
there's-
lore.
just the Pella Pella one was a
them.
good idea with the like tie-in to kind of reference to that campaign, but it wasn't good. You know, like it was
No.
just unfortunately just not good enough. Also, God, we said this before, but
We
they gave
rehabilitated a bandit.
they
That's
also
about
gave
it.
you the best reward after like
That's
one
true.
rank up
Yeah.
or two. I don't remember. Like it's at that point, like why even
And
continue?
the section they made for the Pillar Pillar is also really cool, but it feels like
Yeah,
There's no reason
it
to
just
be
feels
there or explore it.
Yes.
yeah.
But it was massive.
Yeah.
It
They
expanded.
didn't even
loads.
repair the staircase.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's
What
weird.
more can the Hanu do to get that repaired? Like they've given up most of their land for this travel agency. They're all employed by them now. Like it's a horrible, an aggressive takeover of their lands.
company.
Yeah.
We're making a company town. That's
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
horrible.
Start
Suddenly a
making company
resort
script.
town,
God, like Spain.
and yet they can't even. Yeah, it's exactly like Spain. And yet they can't even get their staircase rebuilt.
Yeah,
Because of a storm that happened 1,000 hours ago.
yeah, yeah.
I can see the comparison between the Pillar Pillar and the Namazu questline. The difference is the Namazu are funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Namazu questline wasn't good, but it was funny.
Yeah.
So the story bits were good.
Mm-hmm.
Most society quests, newsflash, aren't that good.
Yeah, the bar's pretty low,
Mechanically.
honestly.
Yeah,
I
well,
think
It's the characters that are good. It's the story.
I think
that
Endwalker really raised the bar for society quests.
For some of them.
some of
For
them were all
two of them.
yeah.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's-
You only get when you only get 3 per expansion.
The
Yeah.
Lockerates were good and the Omicrons were good.
Yeah, Omicron's still
Oh, the
one of my
Omicron, yeah.
favorites.
Yeah.
That
The
was great.
the Matanga.
Don't show me the fucking blue Star Wars elephants no more.
They
Yeah,
weren't-
I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care.
that was
they
rough.
weren't so
Don't
good.
you-
why are they
Don't
drifting?
appreciate-
Tokyo
You don't
drift.
appreciate when the elephants walk around naked?
To be fair,
No.
that was funny.
I don't care about the funny Alra. I was like, ooh, I'm scared.
Oh my god, yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, I wouldn't even say the Akasadara was bad, personally. I
was
mean, I think
okay.
it was the
It was a
least
bit-
impactful, but I thought it was at least amusing.
Yeah.
It had
I
some-
can't say that about Pelu.
What do you mean? You didn't like it when we went and told a ruthless barbarian that he could get to be our chef?
Ruthless barbarian.
Okay.
I think that was one of the only interesting parts of the quest
It was
line,
yeah,
when we hired the bandits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird quests.
Yes.
But you know what? We've got the Mamulja as the gatherer
Only
or
insight into
crafting.
Tuliyollal culture for now.
Which one are they? Are they hand or land?
The land.
Land. Yeah.
Land.
Gathering.
So we're going to go and gather some wood for their
I mean, imagine
many
if they gave
small
us
coffins that we're about to make.
Oh my God, Mel.
Imagine if they gave us land last. The one that the role that has 3 jobs, and they give it to you 3 patches into the expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only positive of Palu, was that it was decent XP. I leveled a fair bit with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already got all my crafters and gatherers done. It's irrelevant for me to. I'm doing
Yeah,
the
that's-
story and the rewards.
Yeah, pretty much. And, well, also the materials that you get sometimes, too.
That's true. You
The-
can often exchange for the grade 12 materials or whatever the max grade materials. That's useful.
Yeah. Well,
nice for
what
melting.
we're talking about is, again, side content, which I'm sure
Sure. Sorry, we've
we've really
waxed into
veered
that,
off the path.
Yeah.
God, we
Sorry.
hate this game.
It's because, I mean, the closest we have to, like, main content that is in a Tuliyollal governed zone is the 11 raids.
Yeah,
And that's more about 11 than it
nothing to
is
do with our culture.
Yeah.
Like, with our
Yeah.
name.
True.
Who knows? And they might turn around and maybe it'll become a 14 right at the end.
Oh,
Maybe.
Yeah, actually 11
only
kind of
thing-
sucked. So we're not
they-
doing this anymore.
They had to ruin it by bringing Cerealja into it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Slimy, slippery toad.
No, listen, I can't hate it. It's got Gulja, so
Yeah.
Gulja.
Look, it's got BKJJ.
Yeah.
I like that Cerealja is tied into it, even if he's
a comedy villain now, and I like that.
I agree. The only issue you can have is like, why is he still alive?
Cerealja had a dream. That's the plot.
Yeah.
Cerealja is, as we said this previously, Cerealja is statistically bad at killing people.
Very
Yes.
bad.
A jobber, some might say.
Cerealja, yeah, most ineffective assassin.
Yeah.
He can't even take over his own former city-state with all the futuristic technology of Solution
I
9.
know. What was that all about? It was so funny. They showed like these future ships like eliminating 1,000 people in one shot, and then it
Yeah.
still failed.
Yeah.
Well, the best part is that he attacked. He
the
attacked,
dragon.
and then he attacked, and then he gave us time to prepare,
Yeah,
which I think
what
is
was he thinking?
bad. Which is a terrible warfare tactic.
You don't know a warrior's honor.
You've seen what I can do. I await you at the tower's top.
He doesn't.
I killed my dad though before I go.
He doesn't even have a warrior's honor. When Wuklamart cuts off the thingy on his head, I can't even remember its name.
Regulator.
He fucks off because he's your regulator. He runs away because he's
Yeah.
like, oh, I might die now.
Yeah.
He was the world's wimpiest enemy. And also, he had no honor on it because in the first dungeon thing where we encounter him, he tries to sabotage it for us, which is not
as
honorable.
bad. He felt bad for it actually.
Yeah.
If you look at dialogue,
He does actually feel bad for it.
it's such an almost out of
Warhorse or more.
character moment.
Because
It's like, what?
he's being Cerealja. He's being manipulated by
God.
Cerealja. He's the real villain, and the slippery snake got away.
Okay. Well, anyways, it seems
Sorry,
like
yeah.
we don't have much hope for the return of Tuliyollal in the MSQ. It seems we might maybe
It doesn't feel
least
like it.
I think it'll happen.
least
now.
might be
until
like a last
7.4.
hurrah. Yeah, before the pivot, maybe we'll go
We'll
back there.
probably have to be here at some point in point 345 where we're getting the government's opinion on some major threats.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
We'll
because
speak to Kona and
I feel like
Wuklamart.
there's no. Well, I still think that
Are
they're
they going
trying
to join
to.
the Eorzean Council Alliance?
I think they're chilling with Wuklamart in the MSQ. I think once we reach up to the point where they were like still writing the story for the patches, I think we're going to start to see some.
On her character sheet,
less
there is a
Wuklamart.
strike through the word Scion.
Yeah, yeah.
That goes against what
rewrite
Yoshi
all
P
plot.
said, though. Wasn't he literally like, I feel like we didn't show her and the light we wanted to
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
And we want to do it
And
better.
rather the light they want to show in is shadow, it's the darkness.
Yeah.
If anything, we're getting more Wuklamart. That's what I'm
Yeah, yeah.
No, if anything, Wuklamart is heading down a lease pathway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Gonna be.
I mean,
Shame.
that's expected of every leader.
I enjoy
That is
party
true.
member
It
that
is
we
the
get.
fate.
She's a
It's
little
all of them,
overbearing, but
I mean,
I like her.
Yeah, but if they know we like them, they get to come back every now and then and actually have a close relationship with us, like Emmerich.
Yeah, and I think they'll do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be fine for Wook.
Emmerich.
That would be okay with
It's
that.
been a while since
Look like
We've not seen him for ages.
no.
Wuklamart like borderline confesses to you at one point in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I think they'll have some kind of like
Now we
nice
have
to see you
a
again.
man and a woman in love with us, and then we can have
Whoa.
dinner with both of them.
Finally the polycule is ready.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot we were on like a fucking dinner date with Emmerich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked that. I thought it was quite fun.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a very funny scene. And
No
every
dinner
time
date with
Emmerich's
Lisa.
seen us since, he's like,
No.
it's like the middle of battle, and it's like, oh hey, wink. Wink.
I could be making this up, but I feel like in an interview somewhere, Ishikawa said that we still go back to have dinner with Emmerich every now and then.
Oh.
Aw.
Okay, well there you go.
Oh, that's
You
nice.
can't decide my character's law.
No, Mela. You're hitting that from the front and the back. insane Emmerich back shots constantly.
We are on
Why
the
should I go
podcast.
tail?
We're on the podcast. All right. Okay. There you go. Will be interesting to see the pivot. I have no idea where we're going after
I'm
this.
so excited.
We're
for
almost
the pivot.
like next patch. We can maybe start to like theorize. I feel like we're too early to start doing that, but it is exciting.
I'm ready to be excited for like potential future plots.
Because, like I said,
I don't mind Sphene and all this. It's fine, and the new patch was good.
Yeah.
But I love looking.
The gamer
Yes,
aesthetic of Solution 9
I don't
is
like
starting to
anymore.
become a little.
I'm really against Solution.
I think by 7.3, I'd be like, okay, I'm happy with how much they've shown. I don't need any more.
No.
Yeah.
I don't need any more.
Yeah.
I mean, my question is, will they continue to choose to focus on Solution 9 and Alexandria in the future after this expansion, considering, at least based on what I've seen in the fandom, how much more popular the real Sphene has been compared in one patch compared to Wuklamut over an expansion?
We might. I don't know.
We might form some sort of alliance with
You know what?
the government of Solution 9 as
I
well.
can see Sphene becoming like important in other side content though. Like maybe there will be a raid series tied to that in the future.
They
Who
could
knows?
do one of the very few variant dungeons that we get per expansion in Solution 9. What about that, Georgi?
What?
Well, you know how we only get like 1 or 2 variant dungeons?
Yeah. Let's
They
let's
could waste a whole
let's
slot
not
on the Solution 9
yeah
aesthetic.
let's not go to Gelmora or anything.
Yeah, screw getting real.
No,
Let's go
no.
come with Sphene to the
I have-
archives.
Listen, okay. People can't resist the cool poster lady white woman, okay? She's powerful. Every
is.
expansion.
She is. Yeah.
She's died
I mean-
3 times. She's not that powerful.
Well, she
There's also
technically
2 of her right now, so which one do we like?
no, not anymore. She's gone now. She's done. She
We
left
don't
for Canada,
like the
remember?
We
evil
don't-
one. Evil one's bad.
Yeah.
I am curious as to where the variant dungeons will be this expansion, and also when they will be, because
Yeah.
we're 2 patches in and we haven't seen one. We got 3 last expansion. I would expect at least 2 this expansion.
Mm-hmm.
The only kindness is to have one of them in a lore-appropriate, grounded Tural zone. Yeah,
I agree.
They have to do that. Maybe
The
something
issue
with
is
the
that
Yokoi or something, that'd be cool.
But the main thing about variant dungeons is that they almost, at least with the precedent they set last expansion, they're almost always set in old zones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I'd be okay if Sphene joined the Scions, or the whatever. What is the Scions now?
Mm-hmm.
We still
Because
exist. We're just not public anymore.
Yeah.
we'd finally get someone who has darker hair instead of all
true.
the blonde hair, or not
Blonde
even
and
blonde.
white.
Not even
White
blonde,
hair.
just white.
Yeah, white
Robert.
hair.
That's why we.
And the
She was
dirty.
bleach over the patches, don't worry.
That's why we
The
brought in.
Scions.
That's why we brought in Graha.
Yeah.
Have you noticed his hair's going a bit pink recently? though?
Yeah, it's getting
Are you
brighter.
trying to say he's the
Graha's hair was more white when he was the Crystal Exile.
That's true, actually. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. That's the future that we're going to get.
Yeah.
the
yeah.
DEI hire the Scions?
God help us all. All right. Well, that's the end. We're at the end of
My
the
best
show.
friend's
Yeah.
hair is red.
Thanks
so-
for watching. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Remember to follow on our social SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersXIV, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, exclamation Discord in chat. If you want to join our Discord server, if you're watching on demand, links in the description. Post show is coming up. If you're watching live, remember that Eurovision is next week for patrons. You better be there. See? Pointing at you.
Mm.